How's it going? So this is how we're gonna create a. See the way this is displayed right now. So this is fetched through external data, all right? So the question is, how do you create an API and then fetch this API locally and service data locally without using coarse thing, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we need to import data, right? So at the moment we have this, okay? So that's what we have. This is all external. This is all being fetched from JSON placeholder, blah, 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 right? So we want to replace this with local data, which is this, okay? So here's how we're gonna do it. We're going to create the data first. New file, we'll call this data.js, okay. We're gonna copy and paste the data. And now we need to create a route to this data. God damn it. I should have not done that. I accidentally closed it. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now we need to create an API. So we have an API folder. Inside the folder, we're gonna create another folder called articles. Articles, okay? In articles, we need to create a file called index.js, and we're gonna do import. I think it's called articles, right? What's the name of that? Articles, yeah. So we're gonna import this. Import from, go up, go up, go up again, data.js, there you go. All right, so now we're gonna serve the entire file. So the way we do that is, I think it's like this: export default function handler request response. Respond status is going to be 200, which is good. And then JSON and the entire articles, okay? So this serves the entire database. This serves the entire database, right? So you see, if we go to articles, API.articles, right, we should be able to see the entire database. Yeah, there it is, okay? Okay, good. Because see, anything you put into pages, API articles, is going to be displayed in here. And index defaults to default page. Okay, now here's the tricky one, right? If you want to serve a file that changes based on the URL, you need to enclose it like this in those brackets, id.js. So now this JavaScript file is going to change depending on the name. The name of this file is going to change depending on the URL query, right? So we're gonna import this again. Export default function handler request response, right? Now we need to get the query, right? So let's do what are we gonna do? We're gonna do const id is equal to request query id, okay? Because we're trying to get the query from here. So if we're gonna console log this, console log id, we're gonna see it in our quick next step, right? Yeah, I think it's in here. Oh, I hope it's not. Oh my god, it's got some login stuff. No, it's not. Okay, good. Oh, we called it ID. Let me see. If I do this, yeah. Okay, you see? So now we entered 1, and on display we have 1. If we enter 2, It will have 2, right? Yeah, you see? Hmm. Okay. So now we have this running, right? So this ID, just remember that this ID is coming from here. You don't have to name it ID. You can call it shake and bake, but then you have to change shake and bake ID to shake and bake in here as well, right? Okay, so now we want individual ones. So we want const filtered equals entire articles. We're gonna filter value ID will be equal to ID, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna console log filtered. So the idea is now whichever query comes in, we're gonna see it on our console log. So if 2 comes in, we should be able to see only 2. Yeah, you see, so there is 2. If 1 comes in, we should be able to see only 1. Right? Yeah, there it is, there's 1. Okay, doc, so now we need to display that. So obviously we want to have a error dealing function. So if somebody enters, there's only 4 articles. So if they enter 40, it's going to tell them that the ID 40 does not exist, okay? So we do this if filtered dot length is bigger than 0, then we want to serve, right? Which we're gonna respond status 200, and then JSON is gonna be filtered. Actually, filtered 0, like this. Because if you just put in filtered, it will display an array with an object in it. But we want just the object, so we just put in 0, right? Else, we want response status 404, i.e. page not found, dot JSON, and we're gonna put a custom message, template literals, and the query with ID not found, right? So this ID is coming from here. All right, this ID is coming from here. Okay, so let's remove console logs. We don't need them. And now let's test. So in theory, we put in articles. It shows us everything, right? We put in articles 1, it shows us 1. Articles 2 shows us 2. We put in articles 20, which doesn't exist. Message comes on. Boom, done. Okay, docs. So now we have the API working. We can query the entire database or by single IT database, right? So now we need to put this into our in here. You see? In here. Okay. So we go to index. We need to replace this with local API. Now, here's the big problem. If you put your local API, like first you cannot do this. There's a big problem. Actually, let's just do this. I'm gonna just copy this thing, put it in here. Okay, so there's a very big problem. If you do like this, articles API, it will not work. All right, it will give you an error. It will tell you only absolute URLs are supported because you have to have full URL, including HTTPs in here. All right, so the way we solve this is we create a folder in our root. And that's literally, you can just copy and paste this code. You don't need to kind of go deep into what the hell is going on. We create a folder called config. Inside config, we put in index.js, right? And the code you want to post is this here. I'm gonna put it in the description below, right? So if process development is not equal to environment, right, is equal to production, then so this is true, right? So what that means is if development is not production, localhost, that's what's gonna be displayed. If not, then whichever website you want, right? Okay. So now this goes into here, right? This will go into here. We need to import this server. So this name, what's the name here? Server. So we need to import this file into our index. Again, you don't need to understand exactly what it does. You just need to know where to stick it, you know? Dun, dun, dun. Config, and then index, right? Yes, there you go. Okay, now we need to reference this file in here, okay? And put it in here. Oh man, this needs to be template literal. Like so, like so, like so, like so. Boom, done. Oh, whoops. What did it just do? Okay. Now this should work now. Oh, whoops. API articles. Okay, now you see only 4 articles, right? Which are coming from here, from our local data. Which are coming from here. You see as the title. Whoops. You see, there it is. Now they're clickable, so obviously they're gonna be clickable. Like seriously and like totally. Okay, so we've done that. Right? So next we have a problem. I'll show you what the problem is. When we click into it, it still fetches from external data. You see, like article number is correct, but the data is incorrect because it still fetches from the external data. So we need to fix that. We need to go into our, we don't need API anymore. Article number, okay, so we'll go here and we need to fix this. So we copy, whoops. Man, why did I do this? What am I at? What am I at? So now we get rid of this. Again, it's the same process. We import server from, now here path is going to be a little bit different. I think we need to go up, I think again, config, and then index, excellent, okay. And it's the same thing in here. We put it in here. This template literal, right? Yeah, it is, yeah. So we can just punch it straight away in. Then we're gonna have API and then articles. Now remember to put in API because I keep forgetting myself, honestly. Okay, and now this should fix this. Okay, so now if you click into it, there it is. There's the article. Correct. Right, we click into this and then done. That's it. It's done. Done, lads. Done. Okay. Now the reason why we do this server mumbo jumbo stuff is because if you put in a fixed local host path in here, right, you have to understand that this API sits on your local host, on your local machine, right? Although it's part of the code, because you're hard coding it in here, it will be localhost. So once you deploy the server, the local host is going to be like, I don't know, yourwebsite.com. And because in here it says localhost, it can no longer fetch the data. That's why you have to create this config folder and say that, okay, if it's not in production, then we want to use this, right? If it is in production, we want to use this, right? Okay. And then done. That's it. Okay, dokes. Take care.